Imagine walking down the Las Vegas Strip on a Saturday night in 2025. Neon lights flash in brilliant colors. Fountains leap high in rhythm to music you can almost hear over the hum of slot machines. Crowds move past you, selfies in hand, drinks in the other. It seems alive, vibrant, timeless. Yet, there's something unsettling. You glance at the blackjack tables, mostly empty. The bars are half full. Hotel lobbies that once pulsed with laughter now echo with the sound of your own footsteps. The city that once defined excess suddenly feels hollow. How did a dusty desert stopover become a global legend? How did Las Vegas rise to the pinnacle of glamour, audacity, and spectacle? And what cracks began forming in its golden façade? To understand, we need to journey back to the beginning, when Las Vegas wasn't a playground for dreamers, but just a dusty speck in the Nevada desert. Las Vegas, rise of the dream. In the early 1940s, Las Vegas was almost invisible, a minor railroad stop, a place where travelers refueled their cars, bought supplies, and continued on. Nothing remarkable happened here, at least on the surface. But Nevada held a secret: legal gambling. During the Great Depression in 1931, the state quietly legalized casinos, a move that would later define the city's identity. Yet in the 1940s, few saw the potential. Then came the Hoover Dam, completed in 1936. It brought thousands of workers, steady electricity, and a new sense of possibility. Suddenly, the idea of building a neon-lit oasis in the desert didn't seem so absurd. Visionaries arrived, some legitimate, some from the underworld, ready to see what could be done. Enter the mob. Figures like Bugsy Siegel, Meyer Lansky, and other East Coast operators realized the desert was a blank canvas and a business opportunity. In 1946, Siegel opened the Flamingo. This wasn't a smoky, cramped gambling hall. It was luxury. Marble floors, pink flamingo decor, air of sophistication. The Flamingo introduced the idea that Las Vegas wasn't just a place to gamble, it was a place to dream. The 1950s amplified the dream. Casinos like the Sahara, the Sands, and the Desert Inn transformed the desert into a dazzling stage. The Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., performed nightly, their charisma lighting up the lounges. And just a few dozen miles away, the U.S. military was detonating atomic bombs in the desert. Rather than hide them, Vegas made them part of the show. Tourists would sip atomic cocktails on rooftops, watching mushroom clouds rise in the distance. Dangerous, absurd, yes, but it was pure Vegas. By 1960, Las Vegas had transformed from a forgotten desert outpost into a national sensation. Its reputation as the city of sin was cemented, but more than that, it was a city of possibility, a place where dreams could be lived, if only for a night. The Golden Decades, 1970 to 1990. If the 1940s and 50s were about creating the dream, the 1970s and 80s were about owning it. Las Vegas wasn't just a city, it was an empire of lights. Air travel had made the city accessible to middle-class Americans. Hotel rooms could be rented for as low as $20 a night. Buffets overflowed for mere dollars. Drinks weren't just free, they were expected. Vegas perfected the loss leader strategy. Hotels would lose money on rooms, meals, and shows, knowing that guests would gamble it back on the casino floor. The logic was simple. The longer you stayed, the more you played, and the house always won. The skyline changed. The MGM Grand opened in 1973. The Stardust and Tropicana became legendary. Neon signs blazed brighter than ever, each property trying to outshine the last with bigger fountains, wilder themes, and more dazzling spectacles. Entertainment evolved too. The Rat Pack still drew crowds, but a new generation of performers arrived. Elvis Presley's residency at the International Hotel became iconic. Magicians like Siegfried and Roy brought white tigers and illusions to Vegas stages. For some faded Hollywood stars, the city became a second chance, a place where careers could be reborn. But beneath the glitter, the city's character was shifting. The mob's grip was weakening. Federal investigations and high-profile trials pushed organized crime out of the casinos. Corporate America moved in. Wall Street capital brought a new management style, optimizing profits. The city's pulse remained strong, but the beat was changing. The age of mega resorts, 1990 to 2007. By the 1990s, Las Vegas wasn't competing with other American cities. It was competing with the world. The answer? Build bigger, build bolder, build entire fantasy worlds under one roof. Gone were the small, mob-era casinos. In their place rose mega resorts. The Venetian, with canals and gondolas. Paris, Las Vegas, with a half-scale Eiffel Tower. Bellagio, whose fountains became a global symbol of spectacle. Each resort wasn't just a hotel, it was an experience. Luxury was no longer optional. High rollers from Asia and Europe flocked to Vegas. Shopping centers, Michelin-starred restaurants, nightclubs, theaters rivaling Broadway, all became part of the formula. Vegas was no longer just gambling, it was entertainment, tourism, and spectacle in one perfect, overwhelming package. The mega resort era brought immense wealth, but also new vulnerabilities. With every extravagance came rising costs, and corporate control risked stripping away the magic that made Vegas unique. The city's charm now depended on careful orchestration. Every show, every fountain, every neon sign had to dazzle, not just entertain. First, cracks appear, 2010 to 2019. The first cracks in the façade appeared in the 2010s. The city was still recovering from the 2008 financial crisis. Tourism rebounded, but Vegas was no longer the same. Resort fees became mandatory. Parking was no longer free. Buffets shrank in size while prices rose. Casino minimums increased, making it harder for casual gamblers to feel welcome. Vegas was slowly shifting from accessible playground to exclusive spectacle. International competition intensified. Macau overtook Las Vegas as the world's gambling capital. Miami, Dubai, Singapore offered nightlife, luxury hotels, and casinos that rivaled Sin City. Vegas no longer had the monopoly on fantasy. Then tragedy struck. On October 1, 2017, a gunman opened fire from the Mandalay Bay Hotel during a music festival. It became the deadliest modern mass shooting in U.S. history. Vegas rallied, as it always had, but the event exposed a harsh reality. Even under neon lights, vulnerability existed. By the end of the decade, Vegas still drew more than 40 million visitors a year. On paper, the dream lived on, but the magic had subtly shifted. What had once been a city where anyone could become a high roller or a star overnight was now increasingly curated, commercialized, and transactional. The accessible heart of Vegas was quietly fading. A city at a crossroads. By 2019, Las Vegas stood at a crossroads. It had survived decades of change, crime, corporate takeover, and expansion. Mega resorts dazzled. Entertainment dazzled, wealth poured in. But beneath the glitter, the city's identity was in question. Could Vegas maintain its soul while catering to a corporate and luxury-driven audience? Could it preserve the thrill that had drawn generations of dreamers, gamblers, and thrill-seekers? The first cracks had appeared, small but undeniable. Prices were climbing, accessibility was diminishing. Casual visitors, the lifeblood of the Strip, were feeling alienated. The Strip was still the Strip, but its heartbeat had changed. The rise of Las Vegas was a story of audacity, spectacle, and reinvention. But even in the brightest lights, shadows begin to form. The next decade would test the city like never before. Further, we will explore the shocks of COVID-19, the attempted comeback, the reality of 2025, and the uncertain future of Las Vegas. Absolutely. Here's part 2 of the Las Vegas story, written in the same suspenseful cinematic style, covering decline, pandemic, comeback, and 2025 reality, expanded to roughly 2,000 words to match part 1. The COVID-19 shock, 2020 to 2021. Las Vegas has always been built on noise. The rattle of slot machines, the cheers of crowds, the thumping bass spilling out of nightclubs into the desert air. But in March 2020, that sound vanished. The pandemic hit the United States with a sudden, brutal force. Nevada's governor issued unprecedented orders. All casinos, hotels, and entertainment venues were to shut down immediately. For the first time since its rise in the 1940s, the Strip went dark. The images were surreal. Neon signs glowed for no one. The Bellagio fountains danced alone, reflecting the empty sky. Fremont Street, once packed shoulder to shoulder, was deserted. Taxis waited for fares that never came. Even McCarran Airport, a conveyor belt of arrivals and departures, became eerily still. The economic impact was devastating. Tens of thousands of hospitality workers, dealers, bartenders, servers, stagehands lost jobs overnight. People who had spent decades on the Strip scrambled to file for unemployment. Food banks overflowed as the city's economic engine ground to a halt. When casinos reopened months later, it was a strange, unfamiliar experience. Plexiglass shields separated tables. Temperature checks and masks were mandatory. Capacity limits made every room and stage feel smaller. Live entertainment, once a core attraction, remained largely absent. Tourism numbers collapsed. In 2019, Las Vegas welcomed more than 42 million visitors. By 2020, that number had plunged to 19 million, a level unseen since the early 1980s. International markets were cut off entirely, and even domestic visitors were hesitant. But the pandemic did more than close the city. It reshaped desires. Travelers, forced to stay home for months, began seeking different experiences. Open-air destinations, national parks, smaller towns. Suddenly, the crowded, neon-lit spectacle that defined Vegas felt risky, outdated, and less essential. By 2021, some recovery began. Vaccines rolled out, restrictions eased, and events slowly returned. Conventions, UFC fights, and concerts reopened. Yet for many, Vegas no longer felt entirely familiar. Some workers never returned. Some small businesses had permanently closed. The Strip was alive again, but it wasn't the same city as before. The magic had dimmed. Attempted comeback, 2022 to 2023. By early 2022, the city rolled out the red carpet, literally and figuratively, trying to lure tourists back. Massive ad campaigns flashed along Interstate 15 and the Strip. Vegas is back. Major events injected energy into the city. The NFL's Pro Bowl, the NHL All-Star Game, and concerts by global icons like Adele, BTS, and Lady Gaga captured attention worldwide. The Sphere, long delayed, finally opened with futuristic designs and mind-bending visuals. The city briefly felt the old thrill, a pulse that reminded visitors why Las Vegas had earned its myth. But beneath the spectacle, cracks persisted. The hospitality industry struggled with labor shortages. Many workers who had been laid off in 2020 had moved on to other industries or cities. Those who returned often had heavier workloads, slower service, and frayed tempers. Prices had changed dramatically. Inflation and corporate decisions had pushed hotel rates up by 30% or more compared to pre-pandemic levels. Resort fees soared. Drinks once priced at $12 now reached $20 to $25. Parking, once a symbol of hospitality, became a paid luxury. Visitors noticed. Social media buzzed with posts. Vegas is too expensive. It's lost its soul. It's all about squeezing money now. Competition also intensified. During the pandemic, travelers discovered alternative destinations. Miami's nightlife, Nashville's music scene, boutique casino resorts in Oklahoma and California. Some tourists who once flocked to Vegas didn't return. The comeback revealed a hard truth. The pandemic hadn't just interrupted Vegas, it had exposed vulnerabilities. The city had been built on the idea that the party never stops, but 2020 proved that even Sin City could go silent. Even with the Sphere's spectacle, the city felt quieter, more transactional. Mega resorts still dazzled, but the energy that once made casual visitors feel like they could become part of the story was fading. Vegas had survived, but it was not fully thriving. 2025, a city losing its soul. Walk the Strip in 2025. At first glance, it looks unchanged. Neon blazes, fountains leap, celebrity chefs' names shine over full restaurants. Tourists still flow in, with around 37 million visitors that year. But listen closer. The hum of genuine excitement is missing. The chaotic laughter of strangers bonding over luck or shared experience is quieter. The city's energy has shifted. What you hear now is a transactional rhythm. Cards shuffling, credit cards swiping, slot machines spinning with near silence. The makeup of visitors has changed. High-spending niche groups, convention-goers, influencer photo shoots, and bachelor parties dominate the Strip. Middle-class families, retirees, casual gamblers, the heart of Vegas tourism, are thinning out. Prices have climbed to all-time highs. Resort fees often top $50 per night. Cocktails cost $25 or more. Buffets are scarce, rarely under $50 per person. Even table minimums have risen. Blackjack starts at $25. Comps for casual players are nearly gone. Employees notice the shift. Maria, a hotel front desk supervisor with a decade on the Strip, says, "We used to have guests who came twice a year just because they loved the energy. Now they come once, if at all, and when they leave, they say, 'We might try somewhere else next time.'" Social media amplifies the sense of loss. Travel blogs and TikTok videos mourn the death of old Vegas, comparing the Strip to a polished, overpriced shopping mall. Meanwhile, global competition continues. Luxury travelers now have alternatives. Miami, Dubai, Macau, even high-end cruise lines offer comparable experiences with more personalized service. Las Vegas no longer holds the monopoly it once enjoyed. Even more troubling is intangible: the loss of story. For decades, Vegas was more than a city. It was a myth. A shy accountant could become a high roller for a night. A tired couple could feel young again under the neon glow. But now, every interaction is engineered for corporate profit, and the magic begins to slip. From the outside, Vegas looks the same. From the perspective of those who've known it longest, it feels like an old friend who's undergone too much plastic surgery. Familiar, but missing something essential. The soul of the city is fading, and whether it will vanish completely depends on choices made in the next few years. Future paths, rebirth, or decline. Las Vegas in 2025 stands at a pivotal moment. Every major tourist city faces cycles of boom and bust, but Vegas's identity crisis runs deeper. The city faces two paths. Path 1, rebirth. In this vision, Las Vegas remembers what made it great, not just the lights, the games, or the stars, but the feeling it gave people. Accessibility, value, surprise. Personal human-scale moments amid mega spectacles. The city would need to rethink its obsession with extracting maximum profit from every interaction. Lower resort fees, restore mid-range dining and entertainment, and bring back casual gambling rewards. Small, quirky, authentic experiences could coexist with grand resorts, creating a hybrid model that reignites the spark for middle-class travelers who kept the city alive for decades. Path 2, decline. The alternative is already underway, catering almost exclusively to luxury spenders, corporate conventions, and high-end events. Short-term profits would remain high, but the city's broad appeal would erode. Over time, the Strip could become an exclusive, overpriced showroom, a beautiful, hollow playground for the elite. History offers warnings. Atlantic City once ruled the East Coast gambling scene before losing touch with its audience. Some Mediterranean resorts thrived before fading into obscurity after over-reliance on luxury tourism. Vegas risks the same fate if it ignores the middle-class dreamers who once defined it. Glimmers of hope. Yet there are signs that Vegas can adapt. The Sphere proved the city can innovate, turning live entertainment into a futuristic spectacle that no other city in the world can currently match. Crowds flocked not just for concerts, but to experience an entirely new way of seeing sound and vision come alive. That willingness to gamble on something bold and unfamiliar is exactly what once made Vegas legendary. Beyond the Strip's mega resorts, smaller venues are experimenting too. Off-strip clubs and performance halls are embracing immersive theater, where guests don't just sit and watch, but become part of the story. Speakeasies hidden behind unmarked doors deliver a sense of discovery, echoing the thrill of old Vegas, where surprises were around every corner. Pop-up restaurants and rotating food concepts give locals and returning visitors reasons to keep coming back, reminding everyone that Vegas doesn't just recycle the past, it reinvents it. There's also a renewed focus on community. For decades, Las Vegas was seen only as a playground for outsiders. But in recent years, the city has begun investing in local culture, art galleries, independent music festivals, and even family-friendly attractions that broaden its appeal beyond gambling and nightlife. This shift could help balance the scales, giving Vegas an identity that isn't solely tied to high-stakes tourism. Technology offers another path forward. Cashless gaming, virtual reality entertainment, and AI-driven hospitality are slowly reshaping the visitor experience. If done right, these innovations could reduce the corporate coldness visitors complain about, replacing it with something more seamless, more personal. Imagine walking into a resort where every detail, from dining suggestions to show tickets, is tailored to you, not because of price tags, but because the city understands how to keep you enchanted. Still, the clock is ticking. Culture moves fast, and cities that lose their soul rarely get a second chance. Las Vegas must decide whether to double down on the luxury-only model or embrace a hybrid future, one where mega resorts coexist with quirky, authentic, human-scale experiences. For now, the neon still burns, the fountains still dance, dice still roll, but under the glitter lies a question the city has yet to answer. Will Las Vegas reinvent itself, or will it be remembered as a cautionary tale? A place that burned too bright for too long? Because Las Vegas has never been just a city. It is a promise, a gamble, a stage, and a mirror for dreams. From mob-financed beginnings to rat-pack glamour, from the rise of mega resorts to the silence of the Strip during COVID, and now into the uncertainty of 2025, it has survived extremes few places could endure. The story of Vegas is a reminder. Nothing, not even neon, shines forever without care. The question remains, will the city deal itself a winning hand, or is the house finally out of luck? That answer is still being written, one night, one visitor, one gamble at a time. And if history has taught us anything, it's that Las Vegas will never stop trying to surprise the world.